Well, more than 20 Republican governors now supporting Texas as Governor Abbott declares the border crisis an invasion and invokes the state's constitutional right to self-defense. In Washington, GOP leadership's threats to tank a bipartisan Senate bill on immigration plays into the White House's claim that the GOP is not serious about solving the issue. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stegall has the latest from Dallas.
The Lone Star State defying a Friday deadline set by the federal government to remove razor wire at key border crossings.
The idea of the federal government removing barriers at this time is really otherworldly.
A senior U.S. Customs and Border Protection official says that won't happen. Writing in a statement to Fox, bottom line, Border Patrol has no plans to remove infrastructure, sea wire placed by Texas along the border. Our posture remains the same. If we need to access an area for emergency response, we will do so. While that plays out in the courts in Washington, there's no deal in sight on border security.
House Republicans, they have a choice to make, right? They have to choose whether they want to solve a problem, actually solve a problem like the Senate is trying to do in a bipartisan way, or get in the way and score political points.
House Speaker Mike Johnson updating his colleagues on the Senate's draft bipartisan border policy, writing in a letter, quoting here, "If rumors about the contents of the draft proposal are true, it would have been dead on arrival in the House anyway."
I think they should try to get something done. That's my personal opinion. But regardless of whether they do or not, there's actions that the president can take right now to help the governor instead of working against him.
This year, the rate of illegal entries into the U.S. is on pace to reach some 3 million. That's the latest from Dallas. Casey Stegall, Fox News.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo-Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation. To the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in the Western Hemisphere, and to the rest scattered abroad, who look like the other nations, but through the patrilineal lineage go back to the Hebrew Israelites. Civil war could soon ensue. Civil war could soon ensue, okay? And what we have here is a border crisis down there in Texas amongst the, federal state and the state of Texas, okay? Because Biden ordered Texas to open up certain parts of the border for the immigrants to cross, okay? He ordered them to take down, certain parts of their barriers, wire barriers, so that the immigrants may come through, okay? And Texas is, bumping up against his orders, okay? He gave them an order that was the deadline, which was Friday, and, they didn't take down all their, barriers that, the federal state required them to take down, okay? And if they don't take it down, he's going to be, forced or issued to send down the National Guards, okay? And what you see and what you have is a division amongst the two, okay? You got the Democrats who wants the borders to be opened up to allow the, migrants, immigrants to flow in, and you got the Republicans who don't, okay? They want to keep the borders secure as much as possible because they don't want to allow the illegal immigrants to keep coming in and flooding their, their state. Okay, you heard the news say that this is the most immigrants that has crossed the border since who knows when. Estimated 3 million. If I'm not incorrect, that they say has came through the borders. Okay. And most of those immigrants that have come through the border are Walmart employees. If you get what I'm saying, just say the word Walmart backwards, and it's martial law, and you know what the employees stand for, those troops, okay? Because this is how they're flooding and bringing in those troops for when all hell breaks loose. They're sprinkling them in amongst the migrants, the immigrants that's crossing the border. Because there's a lot of, fighting age troops, males that's coming through those borders down there, okay? Whether it's from China, whether it's from Africa, whether it's from whatever type of country, they're using that path that they're going through up through Texas, up through, South America to come in through the States, okay? So they're coming in and they're already here waiting, for when all hell breaks loose, they're going to already have their mission that they're supposed to, take out as many as they can when they seem to, buck up against the system. Okay, because make no mistake about it, Jacob's trouble is here. We just waiting for it to really escalate. Okay, you seen all the works being put into place, and once it comes here, that's it. All right, and you're gonna have certain individuals that who are working with the law right now, who don't want to work with the law because of what? Because of what their beliefs are. Okay. They're not going to want to go up against their own people. So they have to bring in these foreigners who have no dog in the fight and that will take and obey, commandments. Okay. It's not going to be nothing from someone from another country to mow down one of these people here in America. Okay. They're going to have no dog in the fight as far as somebody who was raised here in America and who support the, flag and the patriotic, American citizen. He's not going to want to go up against his own brother. Okay. Someone of his same beliefs, but someone from another country, it means nothing to them. Okay. If you're not upholding the laws when they go into this, Walmart, like I said, say it backwards, society, when all hell breaks loose, then it's gonna be nothing for the Walmart employees, the Walmart employees to take you down. Okay, so the division is building up right now, and you're seeing what could potentially, possibly lead into civil war, spoken of in the Bible as Egyptian against Egyptian. All right, so you seeing the works being put into place. Okay. They having a serious issue with this border crisis down there in Texas because they're allowing a lot of, migrants, illegal immigrants to come in, and bring in criminals and all these type of, unwanted individuals crossing the borders into the states, okay, and flooding the states because they're being, hauled and shipped off throughout other parts of the states throughout the country. All right. So it very much well could be at one of the states that you living in. All right. These Walmart employees could already be there in your own prospective town. All right. Just waiting for when things pop off and they get the order to go ahead and do what they got to do. All right. Because your local police station, are going to be short on police officers. They're going to have to, invoke these people with the rights under the martial law, and they're going to act as your governor, whatever state you in, they're going to act as your governor, local police officers, okay? So civil war could soon ensue, and this could be the thing that catalysts and bring it in, all right? Because a lot of these Texans, man, they not, they not with this, letting these people come in, all right? But then you got a lot of more people that want them to come in, okay? So it's a back and forth between the two, amongst the two parties. You got the Republicans who want to keep the border sealed and not let people in. Hint, that's why they support Trump, make America great again. One of his, points of making America great again is building a wall. And then you got, the other half that sees why can't everybody have a consistent form of living, okay? And that hence the Democrats. That's why you got, Biden. Okay, they represent two sides of the coin, but it's still the same coin, nevertheless. The Democrats and the Republicans, which is going to, wedge a big division amongst the two, all right? So you seeing how this could potentially be used to bring in a civil war amongst the people to cause chaos, which will allow them to ensue and invoke, the Walmart, okay? So you very much well could be looking at the beginning of the end, and we pray that it intensifies and that all hell comes from it. Okay, so this is Saint Matthew 24, and let's start at verse 7. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." So you seeing kingdom against kingdom and nation against nation, not only in the wars that's going on, but the war that was, not only are you seeing it between the wars that's going on over there in Ukraine and Russia and Palestine and, the Israelis, but you finna see it here on the home front, okay? In America, Babylon the Great, all right? You finna see it amongst the people, okay? You finna see brother against brother for having different beliefs. You finna see sister against sister for having different beliefs. Because this border crisis is pretty much, either you for, the people coming in or you're against the people coming in. Because if they come in, they're going to take your jobs, okay? And the Republicans have no, need for somebody coming in and taking their jobs from them. They have that patriotic belief. And then you have the other side of the coin that believes everybody deserves a fair shot at a standard of living, okay? And that's why you have your Democrats, that's supporting this, open up the border and allowing these, immigrants to come in, okay? It's going to be a great division amongst the two because you have one party who doesn't want illegal immigrants coming in and taking up all the jobs and, making the economy taint and go down. And then you have another party who wants them to come in and have a better life of living and, give them all sorts of types of, benefits, okay? Whether it be, dental, whether it be, somewhere to stay, because they offer people who have vacant, places such as hotels and houses that they would give them if they would allow some of these asylum seekers to come stay with them, okay? So you seeing how the streets are getting ready to be flooded with these illegal immigrants. And amongst most of them, you have your Walmart employees, okay? Ready for when this war, this civil war breaks out. They're going to be the ones that are enlisted and given the authority to what? Act as your governor, police officers. All right? So the Civil War could soon ensue. They didn't meet the deadline in taking down these barriers. So we're going to see how these, days coming up, we're going to see how these days play out. All right? So this is Isaiah 19 and verse 1. It says, "The burden of Egypt," which we know in the spirit is America. "Behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it." And we know that heart is the economy, okay? This country, this land is built on, its economy, okay? What it consumes and what it produces. And for the most part, it's a consuming nation, okay? And once, you set a division amongst this, land, causing people who work hard to have to give up what they believe they work hard for someone who didn't work hard, it's going to cause division. It's going to cause civil war amongst the people, okay? And you're going to see it. Things are going to intensify, all right? And this could very much well be the play all leading up into the election, to cancel the election, to invoke what? Walmart. Say it backwards, okay? Verse 2 says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians." Okay, that's the vision, okay? Those are the Americans, okay? I'm going to set Americans against Americans, all right? Because why? You're going to have certain individuals, like I said, that support, living, a standard for even if they're from another country, to have a standard of living. And then you're going to have another section that doesn't want, these illegal immigrants coming in because they don't know what their past is like. They don't know if they're dangerous or whatnot. And they don't want them to come in and take their jobs and, make this country go to hell. But little do they know, this country is already going to hell, and it's already been in hell. Okay? Excuse me. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Okay? So we're going to see, because Texas is, this Lone Star state, that is its own Republican. And then you got the federal state, giving orders from the, president telling them to take down these wires. And Texas is not doing what they've been issued and governed to do. Okay? So we could see, how this thing is going to play out. If they send down the National Guards, we're going to see what Texas want to do. All right? Because this thing could very much well, leak over into other states. Other states that, surround the borders. Okay? Allowing more states to be flooded with these, immigrants, these Walmart employees, if you get what I'm saying. So we're going to see how this thing ensues and plays out in the upcoming days, all right? Leading to a decision to be made. Whether or not it's made, we don't know yet, okay? Because they gave them a deadline, which was this Friday, and they didn't seem to meet the deadline, okay? They didn't take down the wire, the barriers, and now, they may have to send in the National Guards. This thing could very much well get out of hand, and we praying that it intensifies, because we know they have to bring about something to ensue and bring in their next plan, okay? Whether it's to invoke, the Walmart, or whether it's to, let things go and get out of control before they, see about doing something. We have to just sit here and wait. But one thing we can be for sure is that if they don't, this thing could lead to civil war, sedition against man, okay? Because you're going to have these, red-blooded Americans who don't want these people coming in, all right? And are willing to get down with it under the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, all right? So it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right. So this place is finished with, man. There's nothing they can do, that can offset the prophecy that, the Most High gave our forefathers. Okay. This place is done. It has had its heydays when, at its peak, it was flourishing. Now it's on its way out, The people are fed up. They at a boiling point, and any little thing could cause, division amongst the two. Okay, brother against brother, because of what? They have different ideologies. You may have one that's a Republican and one that's a Democrat. Okay? And this could cause division. And we praying that it does. And you may see this, like I said, civil war ensue. Now, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right, because it's not just Texas. You got to think about the other, Republican states who don't want things like this to, seek into their states, okay? Because Texas represents, the Republican Party. All right, you have other states like Florida that doesn't, that follows ensue after the same beliefs as Texas, okay? That don't want to see the borders being, violated and letting these, immigrants come in unchecked with not having the appropriate documents, okay? And then you have other states such as the Democrat states like California that will allow these immigrants to come in, Okay? So you're going to see division amongst its own self, you know? That's why a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. Okay? So you're going to see these type of things play out throughout the whole country. And that's why Egypt can't prosper, you know, because why? Yahweh have poured out a perverse, mingled spirit amongst it. Okay? So let's read. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. It says, and swords in their hands, for there should be sedition among men. Give me 1 second. It says, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. And what does those kings and princes represent? You know, your governors, your senates, you know, the bills that's going to be passed, they're not going to regard those, okay? That's why they haven't, you know, honored the, you know, that's why they haven't honored what the federal state has issued to remove those barriers, because they're not going to regard what the issue that they have given them, okay? They're not going to, you know, honor that, because they don't want to see their borders, you know, overran by these illegal immigrants, all right? Because you're going to see, just by doing the research, you know, a lot of people believe and know that they're bringing in those Walmart employees through these borders, okay? That's going to cause a lot of division, okay? Because there are a lot of immigrants that's coming in that's of the fighting age, healthy, young males that's going to be able to enforce whatever law it is that Walmart passes, okay? Once they get these individuals in, which they already in, they're going to have no, you know, they're going to have no problem with, you know, invoking the Walmart, rules, okay? So this says, for there should be sedition amongst men, and invading one another. They should not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And you seeing it, okay? Texas is standing on business. They're not willing or ready to back down to the federal state, okay? Because the federal state is telling them what? That they need to take down the borders, okay? Remove certain parts of the border so that they can allow the immigrants to come in. And Texas knows what happened if they allow that, okay? It's going to look bad for the state, and the people are going to be in an uproar, all right? So they trying to combat what the federal state has sent down orders for them to do, okay? Now it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, right? Because there's going to be laws. There's going to be certain laws put into place where you can't go inside that city unless, you know, you have the appropriate credentials, okay? And, you know, for the most part, you know, you're going to have this from city to city, state to state, all right? You're going to have people that are fleeing from one place to another just because the way that those laws are being governed in that city or in that state, all right? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, all right? It's going to get very wild out here. When Jacob trouble hits and it's at its peak, you know, it's gonna be crazy out here, okay? It's gonna be all out, like the wild, wild west, all right? Every man for themselves, okay? You gonna call and need help, you know, the police that you know as of right now ain't gonna be the same police when it shows up at your door or wherever it is that you need the help, you know? And it may be a while for them to even show up. And when they get there, they may be worse than the criminal that you called about. Okay? So things are going to really get, hectic out here, okay? It says, for because their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. Right. So if man should be afraid, imagine what the women are going to go through, okay? Who don't have a man to protect them. All right. And not just a man, but if you don't have an Israelite man of the elect, you shit out of luck. Okay. No matter what you think you got, no matter how much training you believe you have. Okay. If a man is going to be afraid, imagine what a woman is going to go through. All right. Even if she's been taught how to carry and conceal a weapon. Okay. If you don't have the courage and you don't have the, the protection around you, that weapon doesn't serve you any good at all. It says, a man shall have no excuse me. It says a man shall have no pity, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Oh yes, it's coming. Your neighbor who you thought you knew for the last 10, 15 years, who don't serve the same, or who don't believe in the same principles as you, but they smiled in your face and greeted you every morning as you was going to work, guess what? They gonna come in and get whatever it is that they need. Okay, because you believe, even if they told you that they voted for the same things that y'all had or were on the same page, but in all actuality, they were just waiting for this moment. Okay? And your neighbor very much well could be one of these Walmart employees. All right? So if you don't have the, excuse me, Slakia. So if you don't have the hedge of the Most High guiding you through these times, you're going to be marked for, for the unalive. Okay? So it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay? We speaking of Jacob's trouble here. Okay? They're allowing this thing to, manifest right before your eyes. All right? When they shut these cities down, you think you're going to be able to go to the stores and get food like you can get right now? No, you're not going to be able to. Trucks are not going to be able to come in and deliver gas and food and things of that magnitude, okay? And once starvation kicks in, you can't put anything past what somebody will do to survive, especially if they got a family, okay? Cannibalism. You don't know what to expect through Jacob's trouble, okay? It's going to be like a time you've never seen, all right? You're going to have, excuse me, you're going to have, like it says, a man should have no pity on his neighbor, all right? They see you got something, they going to want to come get it. Plain and simple, okay? All that you been knowing them for 5, 10, 15, 20 years going to go out the window once there's a lawless society and it's every man for themselves, okay? You got to get it how you get it. Civil war, all right? So let's read that one more time. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. We talking about sedition. We talking about division amongst the two. But shall destroy their houses with the sword. If you got a wife, daughter, they ain't going to take no, they ain't going to, excuse me, they ain't going to take no pity on them either. Okay? That's why we need the hedge and the protection of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. It's going to get real out here. And Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is allowing this to work. For all you that didn't, keep the word and his patience, he going to allow the sword to come take care of you. Okay? So it says, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. The lack of bread don't just mean bread that you get in the store, but lack of bread meaning that they can't afford, their rent. They can't afford food. They don't have any money. Okay, it's going to be survival. They got to survive. They got to get whatever you got. Okay? That's why, they got a thing called jugging. you know, where you got a group of people that watch you and set up, you know, a play where they can intercept whatever it is that you've got, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's your women, whatever it is. And these Walmart employees don't think that they ain't going to be jugging out here, okay? They going to be jugging and they going to be working in unison, okay? So it's going to be call 911, ring, ring. I just been robbed. Can you send somebody out here? Next thing you know, it's going to be one of the Walmart employees and they're going to be jugging. Or they're going to take your information, get where you live at, and they're going to pop up and show up, okay? And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it because who you thought was the police ain't the police. They don't share the same beliefs as you. These are people from different countries who could care less about your American values, okay? As far as they look at it, you've had too long to be living like you've been living. Okay, you've been living a good life compared to where they came from, the slums of Africa, you know, China, what have you. They've been just itching for their chance to get a hold to you Americans, man. All the stuff that you've been perpetuating over your TV shows, they've seen it. They've grown envious of you. Okay, it's going to be nothing for them to take you out. And before they take you out, have their way with you. All right? So civil war is going soon and soon, you know. And it's all part of prophecy. Okay, let's go there and Mark. All right, this is Mark chapter 3. And let's just get a couple of verses out of this. Verse 24 says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Right, so these two houses, the Republican and Democrat, going against itself, this place can't stand, man. America's on its way out. It says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Right, so, you know, it's only a matter of time for this whole system come crumbling down, man. All of it's been built on wickedness. You know, it was only, you know, meant to be propped up and, you know, last for a certain amount of time. Now that we at the end of the road, it's coming to its, you know, lifespan, it's ready to go out, okay? They got to bring in all out chaos in order for them to bring in their solution, which is going to be that mark, all right? It's called the Hegelian dialectic. The problem, the reaction, the solution. Okay, the problem they're going to cause to create pandemonium and chaos. The reaction is to see what the people are going to do and see how they're going to react. It's going to be wild out there. Like I said, you're going to have cannibalism because people can't get bread and they have lack of bread. They're going to revert back to, you know, consuming their own children. Okay? You're going to have individuals that's just going to be looking to survive, man. When those bellies start to ache and you can't get no food, you don't know what you're going to do to survive. You seeing it right now because you got food, okay? But when you can't eat nothing for a week or two, you know, and your thoughts start to take over, you know, your chemical imbalances start to react because you haven't been able to eat and your mind just go off into different places and you have to just, you know, consume your own loved ones, it's going to be wild out there, okay? That's why you got to take this time right now and look and turn back from your wicked ways and repent. Because we know according to scriptures, the servants of the Most High is going to be taken care of in those days. Isaiah 65:13, my servant shall eat, but you shall be hungry. My servant shall drink, but you shall be thirst. Okay? It's going to get wild out there. So this says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. All right? So this place can't stand, man. It's getting ready to crumble, you know, and from the results of this place crumbling, it's going to be complete chaos and pandemonium. Exactly what they want. Problem, reaction, solution. Okay? The solution is already on deck. They already got that. They just creating the problem right now. They're going to get the reaction once the problem is put into place, which they are creating currently right now. they're going to get the reaction they want from the people, which is bring us back whatever it is we need to get back to a resemblance of normalcy. Okay, you seen that in the 2020. What happened in the 2020? That was just a sample of what's to come. Okay? That was just a sample. Imagine that times 100. Okay? When they let this thing go full blown, that's going to be it. People are going to be clamoring for that solution. And that's when they're going to let you know what it is. Because at that point, you ain't going to have no choice but to take what it is. Okay? They're going to let things get out of control out here where you're going to be begging for it. Even though you know it's wrong, you're going to be like, the hell with that, man. I got to get this. I need this. Okay? See, you can't put nothing past the wicked, man. They are cunning hunters. They know exactly how to get their agenda to be moved. Okay? On the surface, it looks, all fine and dandy. But once you do a little research and do a little digging on them, you know what's going on, okay? And you can't get that anywhere else outside this Bible, all right? So they coming with it, okay? So civil war could soon ensue, all right? We're going to see how things play out, all right? We know they got to bring it. We know they got to bring some type of, event that's going to cause a mass reaction where they can bring in their solution. So, just keep your eyes and ears on the swivel and continue to watch and look for these things, all right? So let's go ahead and close out of 1 Peter 5 and verse 8. 1 Peter 5 and 8, and it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right? And he's going to get a lot of people trust and believe because they're not going to be aware or be ready for what's coming around the corner. Okay? They don't know they already got these Walmart employees already here coming through the borders through this immigrant crisis. Okay? You're going to be surprised. Man, can you imagine? You call for 911 and you see 2 or 3 Chinese people showing up, all right? Or you call for 911 and you see 2 or 3 officers show up from Africa, like Sudan. And you thinking to yourself, man, I ain't never seen them before. No joke, okay? It's showtime, man. You finna give them your information and they finna know what it is, okay? They gonna show up, whether it's, off hours or whether they still on the clock, okay? They gonna show up at your place of residence. And who you gonna call, okay? You can't call them. They already there. It's too late. You got to get it how you get it, all right? So, this is the time to repent and to get that hedge, that protection around you for the things that's coming. All right, so be sober, be vigilant. Know what time we in. Know how things moving. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. He want to get you easy. He don't want to resist. He don't want prey that, gonna resist. He want easy prey. And for 2/3 of our people, it ain't gonna get no easier than that. All right? So with that being said, I pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom.